All right, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our Essential Safety Tips with Jessica Peterson. So we're going to go ahead and start today off. And with that being said, I'll go ahead and introduce Jessica for those of you who may not know her. So Jessica is a real estate agent with eXp Realty and a certified business coach and life coach as well. She's wrote 7 books and she's a best-selling author. And this book in particular has saved 5 women's lives in the last 2 years. So Jessica, we want to welcome you and we'll go ahead and get started.
Well, thank you, Cassidy, for a really nice, warm introduction. And I want to say thank you for every single person that's listening today. I strongly encourage you to realize that this is not every single tip or advice out there. This will definitely share information, as Cassidy stated. Hopefully that may save your life or someone that you genuinely care about. Every person that's registered today to hear this will go ahead and have access to a copy of the book, Clear Boundaries, Every Businesswoman's Essential Safety Guide. I want to go ahead and give a little bit of a story about how this book came about. I met a woman named Christine Beckwith-Stiles. She is an amazing coach to real estate agents and mortgage professionals. I kept thinking about a close encounter I actually had at a business event. And I kept thinking, why is there nothing out there talking about these latest tactics or what's happening out there? I kept thinking about it. I always say, be really careful what you think about because it can eventually, manifest or come about. And then I met Christine. Christine started sharing with me how many people were coming to her for insight. Unfortunately, Christine lost one of her closest friends, and this book was dedicated to her. In the middle of writing this book, it's really unfortunate that one of the employees at the company Christine was at, her life was taken as well. So within 90 days, we decided to make this top priority and to get the book out there to save at least one life. Now, I have many different incidents, but the one that really, inspired this book to go ahead and be written was a business event that I was at out in Texas. And I was at this event, amazing people there. I go, leave and go up to my hotel room, and another gentleman at the event leaves, gets on the elevator with me as well. We're chit-chatting, talking, no big deal. I go up to my floor and, oh, he's on the same floor too. Great, fabulous. So I go to my hotel room. He acts like he's going down the end of the hallway. And I open my door and he must have observed I am a mover and a shaker. I move really fast. So I opened my door really quick, and something told me as I opened the door to just stop. And I stopped and he was around the corner. He dashed into my room. He was looking at me and I was looking at him, and I did not know what to do at that moment. So at that moment, I said, oh, I got to go get some more towels. So I went to the housekeeping on the same floor level at the hotel, and I was telling what was going on, and they said, that's not your husband? I said, no. So we went back. The gentleman was not there. I immediately told some people at the event what was taking place, and the people running the event went and got security. Security tracked down the gentleman. He was hiding, and they said that he had bad intentions, but I'm really lucky. After that, I started having conversations with many women. Unfortunately, there's a lot of women out there who didn't want to share their stories, and I completely understand because it was very traumatizing to them. National Association of Realtors has some great information on safety to go ahead and definitely research out there. I'll be sprinkling in some additional information that's not in here, and if you want to read more stories and more information, it will be covered in the book, Clear Boundaries, Every Businesswoman's Essential Safety Guide. So as I mentioned earlier, Christine Beckwith is the woman who wrote the book with me, and I'm beyond grateful for that, to go ahead and get this message out there. And any insight or tips, advice that you have, we would love to hear from you as well. And I'll be sharing some of those even from local agents that I've spoken to. So about the book, you can see a little snapshot here about insight, how to be safe. You could be next. It talks about a business drive that ended up being in a man's dark bedroom. That was actually 2 people that worked together, that safe trust level. Strangers following unwelcome. A woman attacked at work and left in a bathroom badly injured. cab drivers driving in the wrong direction and things of that nature. You can go to businesswomansafety.com every now and then. We have people who write on their stories, and if they want it to be shared, we can go ahead as a team and evaluate that. And we also want to hear your insight. There's a well-known psychotherapist. He believes that there'll be book number 2. At this point, we have no desire to do book number 2. There are some other amazing books out there, and this book is just to share some educational information. It doesn't cover everything out there. We would like to thank the countless women and men who contributed, not only stories, safety tips. It was pretty amazing to see how many people in this community came together and shared this in such a short amount of time. And we also like to help with some of the proceeds and, help give it back to other good causes as well. So who should read this? The most common question is this just a training for women? No, we've actually found a lot of men have wrote in as well and said that they really enjoyed this. It really gave them insight, to help the women that they admire in their lives, whether it be their spouse or someone they're dating, their mom, their kids, cousins, whoever it may be. And it also gave them an idea of boundaries for themselves too. Unfortunately, it's not just women attacked. It seems like, we're hearing more and more cases of men being attacked too. And also teens. There seems to be a lot people, eyeing the teens, and we wanted to go ahead and share this information. It is really more geared and focused towards the business atmosphere. But this tips, we've had people write in, it wasn't business atmosphere, and it saved their life as well. So as I mentioned at the beginning, it's really sad. We want to, share this book in memory of Nikki and Colleen. So we're really sad. It's unfortunate that these women lost their lives, and 5 as of now that wrote in, and maybe we'll go up to number 6. So here's some common facts that just between 1966 and 2018, we're seeing a shift. 51% of the workforce right now, we're seeing as a lot more of the women. And we realize that there still are some barriers. They're still in minority and management roles. We do see some, fight for equal pay and promotions, and entry to workforce can be a little bit difficult. But the reaction of this is there is a higher increase of interaction between men and women. It's at an all-time high, especially social media interaction. And the internet imaging of women can be confusing to men. And we're seeing more and more cases of sexual harassment and discriminate climb at all-time high, and lawsuits. More women are taking a stand. So we wanted this book to give insight. Doesn't matter, your race, sex, gender, doesn't matter at all, to go ahead and give you some valuable information. So we're going to dive into some top safety tips, and I'm going to sprinkle in some others here as well. Number 1, always be alert and aware all times in the public. Do not allow your senses to be by alcohol, alone, or other substances. Be really careful. I see so many people today always looking down on their phone. That seems to be really common. And really fight for your life if attacked. Stats have shown that you fighting at that moment is the most critical time. Also always run immediately if you can. Here's an Apple iPhone tip. I want to do a disclaimer though. Some people have had, unfortunately, when they're attacked, that their phone is taken and tossed or thrown or crushed, so they really don't have a chance to do this. But an Apple iPhone, you can press the side power button 5 times quick, and an emergency will come up and call 911 and track your GPS for you. Internet safety is key. When social media first came out, I really enjoyed it. Unfortunately, I would be at real estate functions and was physically, sexually harassed. So when social media came out, I thought, oh, this is a great place for me to go ahead and hide and not have to encounter or deal with that. But we do see that there are, we do go ahead, Christine and I, unfortunately, receive messages, and, people are reaching out to us who are not the nicest, nicest messages in regards to being professional. Let's put it that way. And sometimes it's quite amazing who does it, and even people of very high level business professions. So once you put something out there in the social media world, just please remember it's always going to go ahead and be out there in the social media world. So don't be afraid to address anything if anything's bothering you. It's about drawing these clear lines and the social media safety. There's so many different topics about safety, especially nowadays. People are asking, well, what about, internet safety and computers being hacked. And I know there's some other great trainers out there in those arena. Now we're heading into virus safety. I actually got trained by a program a gentleman created with a woman who wrote content for the CDC. We're talking about, virus safety. There's so many things to be safety of. And unfortunately, one of the latest things on social media is people mimicking to be someone else. I see this on a regular basis. And I had someone copy and pretend to be me, and they actually got money from people. So it's just, there's safety in so many different realms and areas out there. So we're not encouraging people or telling people how they should dress. Just really think about, are you giving the right professional image how you're dressing? We had a lot of men tell us that that was one of their biggest hangups. Sometimes they felt like they were getting mixed messages. Doesn't mean that it gives them any justification or any right whatsoever. Just something to go ahead and think about. And so there are men out there who are looking at online imaging, and they really can feel confused on blurring those lines and what's appropriate or not appropriate. Science proves that the brain sees images as a form of sexual stimulation, creating blurred lines by women projecting images that create that stimulation, yet they don't want to be solicited. So that's just some scientific fact out there. We did add a frame of clear boundaries that we utilize every now and then in our social media on Facebook. And here it is. You can go ahead and see a sample of this. So we do see this showing up every now and then in people's social media profile, and you're more than welcome to utilize that on Facebook. It's completely free for you to go ahead and utilize. When we talk about always staying alert, parking lot safety, even where you park. I once was walking into a parking garage, and I just walked around the corner, and there was a car parked right there in the corner, and someone just busted out the window. He was shocked to see me. I was shocked to see him. He actually ran away, which is a good thing. But also always keep in mind that anytime someone's going to want to, attack or do anything of that sort, they're going to look for the car in the corner, hidden, dark, quick, they can get in and out. So be really aware where you're walking, especially in dark settings. And back in my younger days, when I was in college, I even left the college one night, and grateful nothing happened. I was walking down a dark alley, and these men followed me, and I heard them talking about, attacking me. And I stopped and I confronted them face to face. They didn't like that, and they left as well. So looking back, be really careful where you park, well-lit areas, avoid the alleys, and always have the key and mace in hand if a long walk. A key can be used as a defense weapon later. It's spoken about in the book. The most common question we get Christine and I asked is, do you carry? Well, lawyers have advised us that we can't share if we carry or not, because it can be an influence for someone to carry or not as well. Tell others at work if you fear your safety, and create a buddy walking system when exiting and working late or in the dark. Something to keep in mind, there is some technology out there. Definitely research it. There's several where you can go ahead and look at a phone number and see if there's any history on someone that may be alarming. Sometimes though, someone may be really good and creative and get a brand new phone number, so it doesn't really protect you. There are some technology out there that says when you go in a home and wait until you leave a home. I am a big fan of that. That's better than nothing. But unfortunately, by the time, someone could be sitting there and thinking, oh, Jessica, or you're going to be showing a home 15, 30 minutes later. During that time, something really bad can unfortunately happen to you. So what some people have opted to do, and always talk with your broker and look into your state laws in regards to any of this content or information, and this as well, is sometimes people will say, hey, here's Bob, Mary, or Joe. They assist me. We're going to say hi to them by video before we enter the home, and we're going to have a conversation with them. They don't like that. They don't want to be seen. And if you let them know ahead of time that you're going to do that, it also can lessen it as well, something happening, because again, they don't want their face to be seen as well. Some people go ahead and opt in to meet someone at a place, and some companies have put this as a policy as well, to check their driver's license. Now, please keep in mind to be really careful because a driver's license doesn't always mean it's completely safe. I saw one time. I still went with my gut feeling, and it's a good thing. The police said it was one of the best fake IDs they've ever seen. And unfortunately, the next person they saw was hurt. So When we're talking about the airport and airport transportation, be really careful of interacting with strangers, even on the plane. My teenage daughter actually encountered something, and I'm so grateful. She's 16 years old, for the people behind her and next to her taking a stand. The gentleman said, "You're not sitting by this guy. He was hitting on my daughter. He was looking at porn on his phone." And he told the people around him, said, "This is unacceptable behavior." And he was hitting on my daughter. What was more interesting is he started asking my daughter about, your mom, does she work anywhere? And my daughter knew and was really careful and prepared. And she did not indulge any information out there. So never accept a private ride. Someone may seem to be friendly. Always take a photo of your parking spot when you're parking, because you don't want to appear lost, because that can also make you more of a target as well. Always enter public transportation by making a personal call, even if to a voicemail that states where you are, who you're with, minutes from where you're going. This actually did save someone's life. They got into, can't remember if it's a taxi or an Uber, but anyhow, they hopped in and they said, "Hey, I just got in the car. This is where I'm at, and this is where we're heading." Because unfortunately, they were with someone that, again, had bad intentions, and that actually saved them. So just some insider information to go ahead and look at when you're at the airport or in transportation. So let's go ahead and go over to the hotel safety. Be careful of stranger interaction. A lot of people wrote in and said they never realized that people would, go on the elevator with them and, happen to be on the same floor. Some people said that they would get in an elevator and then a gentleman would hop on really quick and they get off really quick, right? So if at all possible, go ahead and do that. Never allowed yourself to be followed. If so, change direction. And we're actually going to talk about this in a little bit, about one woman who, she can't believe her drink must have had something slipped into it. She didn't feel right. She left and she's grateful. And this gentleman ran out and got in his car and was chasing her. And the good news, was able to go ahead and ditch him. Her hotel room called her the next day and said, "Are you okay? Because it's been 24 hours and you were supposed to check out and you never did." So someone slipped her and her friend something. Be aware when leaving the hotel bar. Always be aware of that. And never allow just one repairman or bellman in the room. When you're getting door delivery for ordering room service, just always tell them to leave it at the door. And always make sure your cell phone is charged. This is very common. We hear people's cell phones not charged, and keep it reachable all times, and always get 2 keys. So keep a second one in a safe spot, so you're not fumbling for the key, at the hotel door, because that also sets you up for a prime attack. Cassidy, I have more insight and information to go ahead and share. At this point, I didn't know if there were any questions or thoughts that anyone have at this moment in time.
I do not see that we have any questions right now.
Perfect. Okay. So some general safety tips: don't leave drinks open unintended. Put a napkin over it when you go into the restroom. Unfortunately, though, some people have even said that they got their drinks straight from the bartender. One woman said she just took 2 sips. Something didn't feel quite right. She didn't drink anymore. Her boyfriend did, and unfortunately, he doesn't remember the rest of the night. So never drink to full intoxication when traveling. It's going to be harder to go ahead and, put up a defense. And never leave your purse open where someone could just walk by and grab your car keys or your hotel key out of your purse at any time. When it comes to corporate safety, here are some tips to be aware of office interactions, unprofessional or uncomfortable, and be willing to go ahead and discuss with human resources as well. Be aware of the safety needed in off-site work events. Be willing to create the lines that are clear to coworkers for yourself. And there's so many different ways you can do this. Some people have said that they'll put up a picture of, their girlfriend or boyfriend or mate, to also not give any, to make it very clear. Talk about them at work, and always check with your corporate safety and sexual harassment guides as well to understand how to protect yourself. The greatest defense we have is our own tuition. This, hands down, has been the #1 best. And always tell people where you're going and how long you plan to be there. There's even some jewelry out there too that some people have as well, to make them feel a little bit safer. That you has mechanisms you can click an alarm system that something's wrong. Always document whom you're with meeting, provide that to a third party and in front of the person you're meeting. Listen to yourself. If you feel a person is giving off this really uneasy vibe, be really cautious to that too. What men are saying, they say that they want to know their boundaries. Men were telling us that they want women to carry themselves professionally and to be really careful of, flirting and giving wrong messages. Understood, never gives an excuse. We hear a lot of times, oh, from, man or woman, well, I thought that they want, no, it's no excuse ever. Always demand respect, but act accordingly. So that's something we want to go ahead and share. And good guys can be bad. Never go along just to get along and end up, down the wrong road or path. Never get in a car unless you trust them. Someone actually wrote in the book about how, a gentleman they worked with, give him a ride. Oh, I got to stop by my house, come in, and next thing you know, it wasn't very good. So just a person's profession doesn't define their safety. We've had people say, even some famous people out there, very elite people cross the line. So you can read our anonymous Georgia lady rape story, and you can read more about that as well in the book. So an executive bodyguard's advice. I really like this advice to know your exits in any room or building. And anytime you're showing a house, I never recommend going into a garage. That also kind of sets you up. There's no windows or anything. Go ahead of time and open up all the, curtains and blinds and everything else ahead of the time as well. And always look at the exits, follow the people. Don't have them follow you, and stand in the entrance of the door. Stand on the same level of the person you're talking to. Hold your head up when talking on the phone. We talked about that a little bit. And always leave an arm's distance to people, especially now with the virus time, it's much easier, right? And another common question, speaking of that, people been asking us is, how do you handle the handshake? How do you handle the greeting? Well, I encountered this the other day. Someone was, I hear this quite often, well, we're vaccinated, and I say, well, the new handshake is to go like this. You put your hands together and you bow. I said, just due to the times right now, we want to respect all people. Be able to react in milliseconds, run and fight, be loud and yell stranger help. These are just some of the other inside tips that we have for today. The home security is, put up, beware of dog. May even consider getting a dog. I have one. She's a great, guard dog. Do not trespass signs, security, systems, use it. A third line of defense, your plan. Where is your family going emergency? What if there is an emergency? People have said that they didn't know where their family was. They didn't have a meeting place. And have a neighborhood buddy system for safety. Even in my community, we have a walking buddy system as well. And so that's just some other inside information too. The vehicle safety, always keep doors locked, even while you're driving. Some people said they'd be driving, someone walked up at a stoplight and tried to get in. Never stop because a person points and tells you to. And if a car door is suddenly open, be prepared to accelerate or change direction quickly. Don't park in the same spot. People like to look for patterns. People like to even look, do you drive the same way? Do you park in the same spot? Things of that nature. And do have something that's able to be reachable. We're not encouraging what that weapon may be. It could be a mace or something else, but always have something to be reachable in the car. So more information on the realtor safety. Always have a buddy system for all home showings. We spoke about earlier some different ways to do that. Don't give out your home address. I know in the state of Florida, unfortunately, it is out there. I hope someday that is changed. And your marketing, have it be professional. And do your homework. If your gut tells you not to trust someone, listen to it. And, always have an emergency setup plan of action and check with your broker on that. And again, we do really like the National Association of Realtor Safety Checklist. So this revolution is brewing. We're hearing more and more people stepping up, and some people still keep it quiet. So hopefully that some of this information will protect or keep you. And if you have any story or insight, tips, or information to share, we love to go ahead and hear it as well. So Cassidy, that's a wrap up for some of the information I have for Safety Month. And I welcome any questions or thoughts at this time before we go ahead and wrap up.